What's good, y'all? I've got some sick buffs and changes from my boy Perrserker, but before I get into explaining my thought process and how they work in the actual ROM hack itself, I want to have a disclaimer for anybody who's new here. First of all, shout out to you. I appreciate you clicking on the video. I also appreciate all my returning viewers. You guys are the goats. Make sure y'all drop a comment, drop a like, sub if you haven't already. All that stuff is really good for promoting my channel and getting my videos out to the algorithm and supporting my work. But yeah, if you're new here, I recommend you pause the video and read the description. I've got bullet point lists explaining the way that this ROM hack is balanced. Because if it's your first time here, I mean, you might be thinking, oh, there's, stats are too high, whatever. I don't know. What is all this new moves? Why are these three abilities going on? Da 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 da. So you can check all that out in the description. I've got a super detailed list for you to read. And then when you're done with the video, you can also click on the links down below in the description to watch other videos. I have playlists explaining the hack. I have a lot of important stuff there. Um, I would also say it's pretty important to, like, okay, so basically, every single move in this game is reworked, for the most part. I mean, not every single move, but the majority of moves are all just reworked into new categories. So if you want to check those out, you can check those out on the move sheet when you're done with the video if you haven't done that yet, because that obviously is important for how the Pokemon function. With all that being said, though, Perrserker, so Steel Fighting, super sick type combo for them. I think it fits very, very, very well. I mean, his whole thing is about being like this Viking Berserker battle type of guy, right? So if you go to his deck entries as well, I think it literally says like he lives for the thrill of battle. Yeah, lives for the thrill of battle. Um, so after many battles, it evolves Dangerous Claws, whatever. So that fits the vibes of fighting very, very, very well. Honestly, I think he could have been Steel Fighting in Vanilla if it wasn't for the fact that I'm assuming he had to be pure type because the other persons are pure. I guess is my guess. I guess is my guess. Very good English, but yeah. I think it fits very well and it's very cool. Obviously, it's a good buff offensively. Defensively, I mean, it gives him a 4 times resist to rock and bug. Of course, he gains a couple weaknesses. Like, I mean, he loses his psychic resist um, and his fairy resist, so that's kind of an L. However, and his flying resist. So he loses 3 resists for 4 times resist. But the main thing I would say is that he now resists dark, so that's definitely useful. And of course, offensively, it's very good. So that's the main aspect of the buff there from Pure Steel, is that it's better for fighting stab. Meowth, normal. I mean, makes perfect sense. It's literally based on the normal type cat. I'm gonna say it out right now, though. I don't think. I'm pretty sure. No, I know for a fact I haven't planned a Alolan Persian to be part normal because of overlap with stuff like my Bostiff. Um, and Mightyena and all these other guys. So as much as, I would like for all of them to be part normal, it just isn't going to work. So whatever, Galarian Mouth, still normal. It's just good for early game stab and stuff. Also for that ghost immunity early on. For example, if you had to fight Rhyme early on or just any ghost pivot is nice. And the 4 times weakness to fighting, this literally does not mean anything. You're already dying to fighting most of the time anyways, or you shouldn't be trying to take the hit. It's not a big deal. The immunity and the extra stab is much more useful on something like Meowth. So yeah, ability-wise, so Battle Armor, so this is one of the few mons in this hack to actually keep all 3 of its vanilla abilities. However, both of them are buffed in the regard, like, okay, Steely Speed is the same, that's just a 1.5x boost, which is situationally more useful over Tough Claws is 1.3 times boost, because it's a stronger boost, right? So with Stab, it goes from 1.95 with Tough Claws to 2.25 with Steely Spirit. So something like Iron Tail, 100 base power, or Brutal Blade, almost basically 120 base power. With Steely Spirit, it goes to 180, and then with Tough Claws, it's only, quote unquote, only. Actually, it's more than 180. Hold on. 120 times 1.25. So it's, wait, sorry, 2.25. 120 times 2.25 is 270. Meanwhile, Tough Claws, Brutal Blade, for example, is, sorry guys, 234. So yeah, that's a 40 base power difference, basically a 35 base power difference. So definitely a big difference in power between the two. Of course, you're already very strong with Tough Claws and 120 attack, and Steely Spirit only works for steel moves. But because you have Move Relearner, it's pretty easy. Like, okay, I need this extra specific damage on the steel type move. It's mostly because it's a cool signature ability, and it's not useless. It is niche compared to Tough Claws boosting everything, but because it's an in-game context with the ROM hack, you can slap on Steely Spirit when you need that extra boost to one-shot something specific, like a bulky Pokemon that's like neutral or weak to steel, for example, that you can't hit with like your coverage with Tough Claws or whatever else, or your fighting stab with Tough Claws. So yeah, I'd say the really fun ability to use on him is Battle Armor. Not only do you have Stab Body Press, but you also have Iron Defense. as well as Amnesia. So Amnesia, Iron Defense, Body Press, Slack Off is like an incredible combo right there. You know, that's really good. You can 1v1 even entire teams in theory with that, of course, outside of like a Ghost type, which isn't going to be on every boss at all. So in general, you could, I mean, you might run out of PP. How much PP did I get Body Press? I might have to drop it to like 10, honestly, at some point. But right now it's probably 20. Yeah, I'll put a note to drop it to 10 real quick. 10 PP Body Press. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's just super fun and super good. And of course, Battle Armor is also good just for consistently getting switches. Like, you're not always going to need that Tough Claws or Steely Spirit boost because you already have a very high 120 base attack. You know, a lot of the time you're not going to need the extra boost, so you can just slap on Battle Armor just to have that consistent utility, like just being able to guaranteed switch in without having to worry about being crit, which is really good in a nuzlocke type of context, which is what this game is balanced around, specifically a team-locked nuzlocke. Again, if you don't know what that is and you're 6 minutes into the video, make sure you pause the video and read the description because it has much more detail explaining what that is. Yeah, so he's got lots of cool coverage, and as you can see, everything that is Tough Claws boosted is underlined. I would also say Battle Armor Battle Cry is incredible. Battle Armor Battle Cry, so Battle Cry essentially drops attack and special attack by -2. Meanwhile, of course, Iron Defense and Amnesia only do one at a time. So that's incredible. It's also 2 PP, so you can Battle Cry and then go from there. Super good. Also very fitting, of course, given that he's like this Viking guy. Also, a nerf on Gallermouth is useful for early on. He doesn't have Battle Armor because he just doesn't have the armor yet on the head. I mean, I know it's hardened hair or whatever, but it's still armor. That's why he has Battle Armor. So Meowth, I mean, Unnerve is a good ability for early on. It's just, you know, removing berries is good. That's a good effect, especially if you need to get a specific kill, like with a super effective move, or like just versus something with a citrus or a pinch berry, whatever it is. It's useful to ignore those on the AI, especially early on. So Unnerve is good. Yeah, stab, fake out, and then I also give them bullet punch, which, if I'm being real, I don't even really see bullet punch, but I feel like that's such a ROM hack moment. You know, like, oh, give Perrserker bullet punch, so I'll do it. It's not like it doesn't fit at all. I think it'd fit better if it was a TM or an egg move, but it's whatever. And he doesn't really make. I mean, I don't really like him using punch moves in general. Like, obviously, Sucker Punch isn't a real punch, and that's the only other quote-unquote punch move you get. So that's another reason I don't really like Bullet Punch. But it is what it is. It's a pretty. I feel like if I didn't give it, people would ask, why not? Why didn't I give it? You know, especially because a lot of Pokemon in this game get access to at least one stab priority move. Not that, I mean, Sucker Punch is good enough, but it's almost the same. Actually, no, it's stronger than Stab Bullet Punch, but of course, Sucker Punch is the downside of. Well, number one, Steely Spirit makes it stronger, and number two, Sucker Punch is, of course, only works if they use an attacking move. But yeah, another thing to keep in mind is that Steely Spirit does technically, like, I know somebody's gonna comment, oh, why didn't you, or would have commented, why didn't you mention the doubles effect of Steely Spirit? And that's because it isn't relevant, really. There's maybe a few double battles in the game. I will say Galar Meowth Steely Spirit is pretty good for Rhyme early on because you're normal type and you have that Steely Spirit, so you can like maybe boost up a Steel type coverage move or just another Steel type on your team if you happen to have one on Teamlocked. So that's pretty cool. But that's really it. It's like very niche. It's very few double battles in the game, so overall it's just a Steelworker clone in this context. But yeah, tons of cool coverage moves, as you can see. I mean, even stuff like Mega Horn is Bug type close combat, Temper Flare is Fire type Wicked Blow, that can't be used twice in a row. Same thing with Brutal Blade and Brutal Bash, those can't be used twice in a row, which is definitely a significant drawback for Perrserker because his speed stat makes it so that he's going to be wanting to run Scarf or Quick Claw to outspeed a lot of things, despite the good speed stat on paper. Because you're not guaranteed a plus speed nature or good speed. You're only getting 20 speed IVs in all your Pokemon, and you're not guaranteed a plus speed nature, so you're not actually that quick. So you're going to have to run Scarf or other speed control items or abilities or moves to, you know, counteract that. You also get Trailblaze so that you can use that, which is really good. If you can like Quick Claw Trailblaze on something that's weakened, finish them off, and then go for your, you know, super strong coverage moves and stab moves without having to worry about the drawback of not being able to click it twice in a row. And of course, that's just for the high base power ones. Of course, you have tons of other strong, like, you know, Iron Tail, 100 base power, no drawback, Takedown, 100 base power, 20% recoil. CC is obviously CC, so stuff like that is much more spammable. So much so that I was honestly, I still might put Brutal Bash and Brutal Blade earlier, because like, what's the CC cap TM? So it's 7 badges, correct? Yeah. 7 badges, 53 to 58. Yeah, man, you're never going to use Brutal Bash. I'll throw it a bit earlier. Maybe Strength could be at 55 then, because that's more spammable, I guess. something like this. So at least you can get some really like guaranteed usage out of it before you get the close combat TM. And a Brutal Blade is obviously very strong, so let me go to Perrserker and just fix that now before I forget. Sorry guys. They also zoom out again so you guys can see fully. Oh wait. No, we're good. Sorry. Yeah, Strength is Rock type. Sorry, Double Edge. You've got your 50% crit moves like Cross Chop, Laceration, Shadow Claw, Aqua Cutter, Cycle Cut, X Scissor, Night Slash, Jagged Edge. All of those are 2 stab moves and a bunch of coverage moves that are 80 base power, but will always crit if you hold a Scope Lens, making them 120 power. If you're holding that Scope Lens, so that's really cool. However, there's an obvious downside is that you can't run like a Scarf or other speed boosting items, so I would only run that with like Trailblaze stuff or something. Or if you just need to one-shot something very specific that's slower than you, or 2 slower Pokemon that come in consecutively, stuff like that. Also, flavor-wise, I gave them a bunch of water moves like Aqua Cutter and Aqua Tail because they are based on like a Viking, and I think them getting like water and ice moves is pretty cool. Same reason I gave them Avalanche and Snowscape and other stuff like that. I also like kind of thought about Chilly Reception, but he isn't. He doesn't seem like a jokester, you know. Like he's more about battling than making jokes. So otherwise, I wish I could because that'd be pretty sick, like a Viking guy. But yeah, hold on, I need to add these moves that I keep forgetting to do. So Brutal Bash, Brutal Blade, 52, 52. Copy this over, 55. There we go. Okay, that's all good. So yeah, and the benefit of like Strength versus Stone Edge, for example, is that Strength is Tough Claws boosted while Stone Edge isn't. Not that, like, they're both 120 power anyway, so it's not like it's a weak move without the Tough Claws boost, but if you need that extra oomph to one-shot something specific, then there you go. Otherwise, you've got Jagged Edge, so, and Rock Slide and stuff for other sets as well. Although Tough Claws Jagged Edge is stronger than Rock Slide, so just something to keep in mind. But again, a lot of the time you might want to run Battle Armor anyway, like I said earlier, even if you're not running, like, Body Press Cheese, it's still good to just have that Battle Armor for that consistency. You can also use Battle Armor plus Parting Shot, which flavor-wise I gave them Parting Shot because I think all 3 Persians, or Persian variants, I know this is Perrserker, it's its own thing, but I think all of them make sense to learn Parting Shot. He seems like he can definitely curse at you and yell at you if you look at him. He's got the vibes for it, for sure, if you just look at him. So, Parting Shot, pretty cool move there. It works really well with Battle Armor, especially. In general, I mean, you've got tons of good utility debuffing type moves like Acid Reflux with Battle Armor as well, dropping Spadef and Poisoning. You've got Metal Sound, which drops special attack and special defense by -2. That's super good with Battle Armor as well. You also got Charm earlier on, so before you get Battle Cry, you still have Charm and Metal Sound for debuffing with Battle Armor is my point. You've got good, coverage, fairy moves, all this good stuff. Tons of cool coverage, right? Temper Flare, Tough Claws boosted. I think I already said that actually, but yeah, Superpower is a big nuke, so Superpower is stronger than CC and Brutal Bash. That's 140 power. The downside is that it drops your attack by -2. However, you can use that either, number one, you can just, use it and then switch out, which is the easiest way, or you can use it with like a jetpack, or you can even do stuff like a Brutal Blade after, because it'll crit through the attack drop, ignoring the attack drop. So that's really cool too. Superpower is super strong, super cool move. Mouth also has some really strong stab early on, outside of just a stab, fake out, quick attack, bullet punch combo, which is super strong with Tough Claws and 70 attack at that point in the game. Like really good. It also has Payday at 20, which is really cool. That's a 3-hit move. It's 30 base power per hit. I believe I made it. Yeah, 30 base power per hit. And with a Scope Lens, it's 3 hitting, right? So it's 90 base power, which is still really strong. Of course, it's not Tough Claws boosted, so Tough Claws Headbutt 70 times 1.3 is stronger. However, you can use Payday with Unnerve or Steely Spirit, and it also hits multiple times, so you can break sashes and stuff. Of course, you already have Fake Out that does that, but if you're like Fake Outing into killing something into Payday versus the Sash or Energy Shield or Multi-Scale Mon that comes in, Payday can be useful in that regard. But the most useful application of Payday is that if you hold a Scope Lens on your Meowth, you get a guaranteed crit, making it a 135 power move at level 20. Of course, it's still not Tough Claws boosted, and you have to hold a Scope Lens, but that's still super fun and super good. And then at level 25 you get Slash, which is the same thing as Laceration and Cross Chop and all that. So if you hold a Scope Lens, you get a 120 power move at level 25. So that's a good stab move as well, and a Tough Claws boosted. And then you evolve not too long after that. So yeah, other priority, you even get stuff like Creeping Strike. I already covered Sucker Punch. So yeah, Bulk Up Battle Armor is also pretty good. Although I would probably rather just do the Amnesia Iron Defense. I would Bulk Up Amnesia Slack off isn't bad either, so you could definitely take advantage of that um, with battle armor. But yeah, that's really about it. Thank you for listening. Pretty straightforward, but very good and solid buffs. As for the stats, I think they make sense. I didn't want to go super overboard. I always try to make the stats make sense for the Pokemon. I think he makes sense to be relatively quick, just not as quick as like the Persians. I don't think he had any right being as slow as he was personally. Like I think even in vanilla, they could have given my man like, what does he have normally? Like 50. They could have given my man like 70, 80 at least. I think that makes perfect sense for vanilla. Even 90, I think would have been fine. But yeah, thanks for listening. Let me know if you made it to the end. I appreciate you if you did. And I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.